Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Brilliant Mobile with no. Brilliant Marketing with Mary show. Thank you so much for showing up today for some brilliant tips. And today you will not be disappointed. I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about public speaking and how it can get your business more money, right? Because that's what we want. We want to be able to share our brilliance with the world so that more people will understand what you do and how you can help them because you are the answer to someone's prayer, right? Right. Yes, because I want to empower you to be in your brilliance, not just do your brilliance, but be in your brilliance. So I actually, I'm so excited to make sure that I introduce her correctly. So her lovely, in fact, I'm looking for her name. There we go. She is the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now. Leisa Reid. What, maybe, if I could speak right, one person in the world doesn't know who she is. So to do her justice, I'm going to officially read her bio because she was quite impressive, and I am blessed to call her a friend. So Leisa is actually a speaker who has booked and delivered over 600 talks, right? She knows what she's talking about. Leisa coaches entrepreneurs on how to get booked and stay booked. She is passionate about teaching you how to get your talk ready to rock. So you know she's fun. So that you can attract your ideal clients through speaking. On our show today, she will actually share the number one secret, a secret that she uses to get speaking gigs. So welcome, Leisa. There she is.
Yay!
Yay!
Woo-hoo! Thunderous applause.
That's right. Of the millions of people, I just knew they all pretty much knew who you were, but I thought maybe their one person might not.
There's that
So
one person. Now they
yeah,
know.
one person. Awesome. Well, I didn't even get a chance. I was realizing I was so excited to have you come on. I didn't read your company bio. So why don't you tell me how you got into speaking so I can hear it firsthand?
Oh, well, I got into speaking about 10 years ago,
Okay.
and I was approached by a personal development company that I had been taking workshops with.
Okay.
And how they fill their workshops is they would go out and give presentations and then invite people to attend the workshop. So it was like, hey, would you like to go teach people about mindset and how the mind works and our thoughts and how powerful they are and how you can start changing that and invite them to a workshop? And I was already madly in love with the work. I thought, absolutely, I would love to do that. And it was a time I was looking for some flexibility in my life.
Right.
I little side tip, or I don't know if this is not a tip, little side tidbit. I do have my bachelor's and master's degree in speech communication from Cal State
Oh,
Fullerton. Go Titans. Whoop, whoop.
woo woo.
Um,
Titans.
yeah.
Woo.
And I even taught interpersonal communication at Cal State Fullerton when I was 22 years old. So it wasn't until much later when I was 40 that I actually became a professional speaker for this company. And
Oh, wait a minute.
so, yeah.
Wait, but hold on a second. I have to ask
Well,
you. You're saying you worked at Cal State Fullerton?
yeah,
What year?
1995.
Oh my gosh.
Did you
So
work at
I
Cal State
graduated. I went to UCLA for 3 years. I transferred to Cal State Fullerton, got my degree there. And then I started my business in 88. I think it was 91 or two. They asked me to be a professor to teach on communication. I must have left like right before you
Oh my
started.
gosh. Well, I started there in 91. So I started my freshman year in college was 1991
Oh, but I
in
mean,
the
when did
speech
you start
communication
teaching?
department. I started teaching 95. Yeah, but I
Okay.
was in communication. So maybe we were
Right.
like getting like a juice it up at the juice it up stand, or Carl's Jr. or something like that.
Right. But
Maybe
that's
we
so
packed.
trippy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like we probably had like mailboxes. I had just cleared mine out and you were loading yours in. In fact, there was a woman I became friends with. Her name was I'm Mary Barnett, and she was Carrie Barnett.
Oh,
And they would switch our mail all the time. And we both like I spoke on. I mean, my degree was marketing. It was public relations with a marketing emphasis or whatever. I don't know.
mhm. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was straight crazy. And so here you are. The world brought us back together.
Hey, here we are. Oh my
Here we are.
gosh, how
I'm
fun was
sorry.
that?
So finish your story. I just that freaked me out for a
Yeah.
minute. Keep going.
No, I love that. So I was in the speech communication, which was different than the mass communication, as
Yes.
probably know.
Yes.
And so then I'm 40, fast forward, yada, yada, yada. Then I'm 40
Yesterday. Yesterday.
and yeah, yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is cool. I'm finally full circle. I'm speaking. And that first year, I booked 83 speaking engagements in my local area, right? And I would just go and give the same talk. Yeah, I would go give the same talk to whoever was willing to listen at that point and sign people up for this workshop. And I'd fill up all the workshops, right? So that's why now
Wow.
coaches who are like, I need to fill my programs and my workshops and my retreats. I'm like, well, speaking is a great way to do it because that's how I started.
Wow. So you just have a little bit of experience.
Just a little. Yeah, that was my
Wow.
first year. That was called the ignorance on fire year, right? which is which
But
is not a bad place to be.
no, I think actually everybody should do that when you can't find your butt with two hands, right? You just like figure it out as you go
There you
along and then
go.
you find out what doesn't work, right? And that's nice because now you learn what doesn't work and
Yeah.
you can share that. I was sharing with someone recently when I first started my business, when I ran out of like people to contact, because you go through your list, right? I
Mhm.
remember it was Halloween time and I dressed up as a fairy with wings, and I had a bag of glitter or confetti and a bag of candy and a wand, and I literally went door to door. Now they wouldn't let you in. Are you kidding me? They'd like crazy alert. And I went door to door and I said, I am your marketing fairy. I can make your dreams come true. And I
Wow.
would throw some glitter or confetti, whatever, in the air, which of course I'm sure upset them because they, had
Yeah,
to
but
clean it up.
yeah, oh,
And
that's
I had a
funny.
little bag of candy with like my business card, tied to it. And I said, "Is there any events or marketing needs that you have that I can make come true?" And they're like, "Security."
They're like, I thought you were a kid, just a grown. I thought you were a really tall kid.
Well, I haven't really grown much. I'm still about the same height as I was a child.
Well, that is so on brand for you, Mary, because I love it.
Yeah.
I the craziest thing I did to get a referral, not craziest, but so back in the yada 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 years, I owned a day spa, right? Totally different subject than speaking.
Really?
And yeah, and on we were, under stress, building it all out. It was just constantly. So I ended up getting a speeding ticket. I mean, what? No, I'm just wait, are we being recorded? No, just kidding. So then I go to driver school, at the courthouse or whatever it is, DMV or whatever. And they said you can stand up and say why you got your ticket. And the guy was pretty funny, nice
Okay.
guy. And I stood up and I said, it was right around Valentine's Day. And I stood up and I said, I did get my speeding ticket on my way to open up my day spa. If you're looking for a, gift for your loved one, your wife, your spouse, it's this.com and you can come see me at the break. And the guy said, I have been teaching for 13 years and I have never had anyone give a commercial during their talk. But guess what? Then a bunch of other people did too. It was really fun.
That's awesome. Well, everyone is so
Hey man, you
stressed
got to take
in
it.
traffic school, they probably would like were
Oh
grateful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Captive audience, right?
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get into the meat because I could talk to you all
Okay.
day. Like, I'm like, let's share some wine and just talk. Um, okay, so something you shared with me, I'm always asking for a brilliant marketing share. And so you said that you can become an international speaker without leaving your house. So
Right.
explain.
Yeah. So what's really cool, you got to make lemonade out of lemons, right? And with the pandemic, here's the lemonade of it. Yes, there's
Right,
things that we didn't wish this on anyone, but it is what it is. Here we are.
right.
Now everyone's on Zoom. So if someone's speaking, like if we're in the United States, if someone has an event in Canada and you are a virtual speaker in Canada where it's being hosted, to me, that makes you count as an international speaker. You don't have to
All
fly
right.
there anymore.
I love it.
And yeah, when I told a couple of people this, I was like, their mind was blown. And it's like there's no one is going to send you a letter giving you permission. There's no regulatory body saying no, that doesn't count, that does count, whatever. It is what it is. You are speaking to an international audience. In fact, next week I'm speaking to the International Coaching Week, which is based in Europe. There's people from all over the globe, all the continents, well, probably not Antarctica, but like there's people from Asia, Europe, Africa, United States, Australia speaking at this conference. It's very
That's
exciting.
amazing. That is awesome. Okay, so let me get into the questions that we talked about
Okay.
because I want to make sure that our audience who's always looking for how to's, right? And to give them some tips. So let's get into this. And then I didn't know if you're ready to make an announcement of any sort, but if you do, you can slip that in anytime you want. Okay. First question. What is the number one secret to getting booked and staying booked? And what do you mean by staying booked as a
Okay,
speaker?
so a lot of times entrepreneurs just think like, what's the next thing? Like, what's right next in front of you? They don't think of the long game. And speaking is a long game in the sense that once you learn and master how you create your talk, I call Get Your Talk Ready to Rock, which is something I do with people in the Speakers Training Academy.
Love
Once
that.
you figure out how to do that and figure out, okay, where's my audience? And you come up with your systems and strategies to do that, it's a rinse and repeat game, which means it's a long game. Yes, you can have a speaking engagement next week, but you could have speaking engagements forever. And that is where it's really, really valuable. Like, why not get that training? Why not get yourself set up so that you can have a consistent lead flow all the time? So that's what I mean about staying booked, right? I mean, I think it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Anyone can get a speaking engagement. Can they ask you? Are they going to ask you back? Like today, I got an email. Can you come back? I've spoken for this group 5 times. They want me to come back. And
Even though you're
unsolicited.
talking
I'm not
about this,
asking them.
but and this is the name of your talk, which I love. Get your talk ready to rock. I love it. And late and in the show, you're going to share with us, I hope, how people can find out more about this.
Mhm.
But so somebody has hired you 5 times. Did you change your talk, or is it always the same one?
They bring in different audiences. So, and then that's actually the
Oh,
Get Your Talk Ready to Rock is a service that I offer, not a talk,
okay.
just to be clear. But
Oh, that's true.
yeah,
Yes, your
yeah,
service.
it's what I help people with. But
Yeah.
yeah, and so, but that's not even the secret that I was going to share with you. So that's a
Oh,
little bonus secret, bonus secret.
oh, okay.
So the actual secret is something I call speaker soulmates. And if you think about it, like Mary, you probably have people that you refer to or they refer to you. You have like business strategic partners, right?
Right.
People don't realize you could have the same thing, but for speakers. And because who has all the information you need? Other speakers have the information that you need. Don't go on Google and Google yourself to, nausea, just rabbit holes. No, that's not fun. And you could just waste a ton of time and hours and pull your hair out.
Yeah.
So instead of cold calling and Googling down rabbit holes, you can actually align yourself with what, two, maybe three other strategic partners, what I call speaker soulmates. And then it's someone you know, like, and trust. It's someone that you speaks around the same frequency as you. And here's the kicker: this is the Reese's peanut butter cup part of the story is that they speak to a similar audience, but they're not your competition. And that in such is like the best trifecta. And I have
Okay.
a speaker soulmate who's referred over 100 speaking engagements to me, meaning like red carpets rolled right on out. I go in, I speak. I don't have to cold call. I don't have to find them. I don't have, and
That's
that's,
fantastic.
yeah, you don't even need that many, right? Like I just do a little bit more than what most people do. You don't need that many. Most of my clients speak 4 times a month. So that's
Okay.
like what, let's say average 24 times a year. You
Wow.
don't need a ton of speaker soulmates. You don't need a ton
Right.
of leads. So sometimes people think it's a little harder than it is.
So kind of like what you say, speaker soulmate, kind of like a power partner, right? So you're
Yeah.
finding
Yeah.
someone who's in a similar industry, but it's not competition. And you basically just say, hey, if I find a speaking opportunity, I'll share with you and vice versa, right?
Yeah. And we could get intricate and we're not going to do that here, but on how does that work? And
Okay.
you're a natural connector, but not everyone is. Not everyone thinks that. And they don't
Hmm.
think, well, wait, you mean I would just ask someone for help? Like, what? How does that work? So I know for us, we're natural connectors. We're like, that's so easy. It's not easy for everybody. And I totally understand that. No judgment. But sometimes that thing is just right there. We just have to be able to be willing to ask for it and
I love
go
it.
through the motions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people want to help. Most people I
They
have
do.
found in my life, they're like, oh my gosh, thanks for asking. Like some people are afraid to ask. So when you do, like, so grateful. So the next
Hmm.
question is, what strategies can our listeners use, or listeners or watchers? We will have a podcast and a live stream use to attract clients when they are giving a talk. Like, so what do you do? Like you share your wisdom, but tell
Yeah.
us more.
So one way is you can tell stories. I actually even just snuck a couple in already. It was so short and so sweet. You probably didn't even catch it, but that I did get booked for 5 times from the same, and that did happen today.
Yes.
It's literally just did happen. That's for real. It's true. But you can
Wow.
have stories, just I kind of call like having your keys in your pocket, like just to be able to pull them out, like pull out those stories about how you've helped somebody. That's so much more interesting than saying, I'm the founder of this and this is what we do. And like everyone's tuned out by then. And this is a great speaker tip, even if you're not the speaker. Like say you're at an event where they say, oh, you have 30 seconds or 1 minute. Don't bore them with all the
Ooh.
things that you do. Share how you help someone's problem. Oh my gosh, this incredible businesswoman came up to me the other day. She's someone I really look up to, super intelligent, but she shared with me she was a little worried. She didn't know how to get her talk done. She would see all those other people on stage and she'd see them selling their programs and she's like, how come they can do it and I can't do it? Like what's the deal? What do I need to do? How do I do it? And so we got her talk ready to rock. She gave it to 100 people and filled her program. Now she's an international best-selling author. She speaks all over the world. She's does 5-day challenges, and she's rinsed and repeated her methodology for her new business that she created. So that's a way that I basically shared a story. It's a true story. And in a way that showed the problems
Yeah.
that I can help people solve.
It'll make people raise their hand and say, "Ooh, I want that," right? They'll
Right.
lean in because
Yeah.
and I think as like even growing up, our favorite thing was, read me a
Stories.
story. So I think we're
Mhm.
all attracted to stories because we want that versus being told what to do. It's like sharing a story. It takes the pressure off too. So you're not like
Totally.
selling them on it. You're sharing a story. And if they want it, they'll say, yes, please. If they don't, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So the next question is, what else can people do to grow their business through speaking that will attract their ideal clients versus a bunch of people who don't want to pay them to do anything?
I think sometimes, I don't know if you get this too with your marketing. We want to like give everything to everyone and announce all the things that we do, right? And it's like,
But wait, there's more.
yeah. So one of the biggest challenges I think sometimes the entrepreneurs I have that work with me have is narrowing it down to that one call to action. Because or a clear call to action, you can have two, but it's got to be super clear. And we'll say CTA, call to action. That's
Right.
the abbreviation for that. And that's what we start with in the Get Your Talk Ready to Rock session. We actually start at the end. I always say we're going to reverse engineer it. Don't worry, but we need to know where we're going because
Love
you're
it.
taking the audience on a tour. They're going on a journey. And I go, if they paid to kiss the dolphins, they don't know why to end up at the volcano. They want to be kissing the dolphins. So we got to go like, where are we going to get those dolphins kisses? Right. Like you got to make it fun, right?
Have you been on
You got to
vacation
make,
lately? I'm thinking,
hmm. Yeah.
hmm,
So being really clear on what's that call to action. And if as a speaker, you're not clear, guess who else isn't clear? Audience isn't clear.
right,
So
right.
that's where it's a lot of the work that we do is like getting clear, being confident, standing in your like, this is the stake I'm putting in the ground. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I'm inviting people to. And really being in love with it. If you're not in love with your offer, audience isn't going to be in love with it either.
I love that is gold right there. It's true. If you're not in love with what you do, like you kind of hesitate, right? Actually, when we were together, probably in December, I did this talk called Three Ways to Be Poised, Positive, and Profitable. And I put
Yes.
together this little like video on how to do it. And my call to action was text the word brilliant to 71441, and you'll get an instant link to the magic, right? And so I knew you were going to be talking about that. And a lot of speakers we actually own software that allows people to collect a list
Do
without
the
having to
texting.
do any data entry, right? So this is usually my go-to call to action, even though we provide many more services than just mobile messaging.
Right.
But you're so right. I think a lot of us forget to give them a way to like because people really want to know what to do next,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't tell them, they'll just go about their life, right? But if
It's like,
you give them,
yeah.
yeah, I'm
It's
so
like the
sorry to interrupt.
Simon Says game, like in Simon Says, and you're just like, Simon says, do a jumping jack. And there you do a jumping. And then Simon says, but if Simon says, do a jumping jack, touch the floor, jump up and down, stand on one leg. I mean, you're going to be like, like, you're going to be
Overwhelmed.
out. You're going to be out.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what, Lisa, for years, and I still do it, I'm guilty of it. I would overwhelm because I get excited. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
wait. And then there's this, and this, and people are like, oh my God, they just get
What?
so overwhelmed. So just for, the one thing, like they said in City Slickers, one thing.
One thing. Exactly.
All right. So this is the next question. In your experience, what is one of the biggest obstacles aspiring speakers face, and how can they overcome it?
I think the biggest obstacle, at least when they come to me, is thinking that they need to get their talk done either before they talk to me, or it's like their talk is this almost weight on their shoulders of like, it's been in my mind. I've been thinking about it. I know one day I want to do it. I've been working on it. I'm like, are there any words on the paper? Like, have you typed out anything? Like, what do we have? And they're like, no, I'm just still thinking. And I'm like, okay. So what I know is that it's also the biggest obstacle is like speaker's kryptonite. Like if I put that
Oh,
on paper, if I say it out loud, if I get on that stage, what if this happens? What if people think it was dumb? What if I fail? What if I make a mistake? What if no one buys my stuff? What if? And
right.
that is honestly your the biggest obstacle is your own thinking about it. Because
Oh,
once we start to clarify it, like, okay, let's really dig in. What are the key components that people really need to know that you are standing strongly for?
right.
Then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, it's your brilliance, your passion, your
Yeah.
you-ness can come out and you're going to attract the people who are picking up what you're throwing down. That's exciting. It's fun. You could do it all day. It's
Yeah.
so fulfilling.
That's
But until you
awesome.
have a little validation, a little clarity on like, okay, wait, how does this whole thing work? It can keep you trapped and keep the message inside.
And that's pretty much what you do, how you help them and get your talk ready to rock.
Yeah, so basically what I do is we have a speakers training academy, and everyone who enters that academy gets an instant, like in the first 30 days, I recommend doing it for first 30 days. Get your talk ready to rock session with me. So it's like me
Oh,
personally. Yeah. And it's a 2 hour like deep dive. I link arms with you. I'm like, I'm in it to win it, baby. Let's do it. And that way you leave that session with your title, your description, your learning points, your call to action. You know what you're going to be talking about. And all of a sudden you're
right.
like, oh my God, I can't wait to give this to everybody. Like everyone needs to hear this. It's so exciting. It's like giving birth to your baby. We were talking about that
Yeah.
earlier offline, but it's literally like you fall in love with your talk. It's a really magical experience.
I love that. And it's so awesome that you do help people get to that point because you're right. It's just frustrating. And also, I think people think it has to be perfect before I do it. And I think that there is so much magic in imperfection because people then can relate. Like if you trip or you slur your words or you do something, you're like, oh, people are like, oh wow, I do that too.
Mhm.
I'm not weird. Like if they can do that, I can do that. If I can step into doing this, even though it's not perfect, if they could do it, I could do it. Like I think that's makes you more relatable as a human. And
100%.
but when you know the framework that your service provides, I think that gives you the confidence that go up. And
Yeah.
even if you trip up the stage, at least you know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, and when I even help people, it's like it's not about memorizing it, saying it exactly the right way, but if you have an idea of these are the points I want to hit, and this is the focus, and this is, remember that, we're going to kiss those dolphins. Like, what's that thing at the end?
I love
That's
that.
really going to help you stay on track, and it'll help you learn how to practice. It'll help you learn how to be more comfortable. I always tell people, like, when we were little and we were trying to tie our shoes, we didn't like go, oh, I guess I'm giving up. Like, it didn't work out. Like, I didn't tie my shoe right. I'm like, no, you just, as a little kid, you're like determined as all get out. If you've ever been around little kids, oh my gosh, they do not give up.
Right.
They
Or
don't give
walk.
up.
Yeah, people say like if you did try to walk and you fell down, your parents would be like, "Oh, I guess you'll always crawl."
Yeah.
No, you're gonna keep going. Yeah, yeah, you're just gonna go. And I think also, Lisa, I think you and I talked about this a long time ago. The more you do it, the better you get at it because you get the confidence and kind
Mhm.
of like the you're like on a roll. And I think that
Yeah,
you
your
can then
unconscious
tweak
competence
it.
kicks in, yeah, and you can't have
Oh, that's what it's
unconscious
called?
competence. Yeah,
That's
unconscious competence is where you're at
okay.
this level where you're like, you could do it without thinking about it. You can't get there until
Love
you
it.
go through the other levels, which
Right.
is we don't need to go on all the levels, but, and so funny, I compare it to someone said, well, how much do I need to practice? And when am I going to be? And I said, well, that's like asking me how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? I'm like, I don't even know. Like everyone's a little different, but until you feel like I could deliver this sucker, without,
Sucker, lollipop, nice tie. Love that.
yeah. So it's, and just, but it's hard to practice if you don't know what you're practicing. And it's
Right.
hard to step into it if you're still like, I'm not sure what I should tell people. And especially if you're sitting on like like you were teaching at Cal State Fullerton 30 years ago. So you're sitting on decades of marketing knowledge. So how do you know what to pull? Like, okay, what do people need to really like? If I was to just grab a couple of really key things, what's the most important thing? And that's
Right.
where it's hard
Yeah.
to figure that out on your own.
Dialing it down. And you can always have, I'm assuming, like once you have your signature talk, you can then have variations, right? You
Oh
can
yeah,
talk about
definitely.
different things. And so you can, I mean, obviously you said that you were booked 5 times by the same organization,
Mhm.
phenomenal. And you can either give the same talk, but I bet like if it's a new group of people that are maybe they're all hairstylists or maybe they're all plumbers, you could adapt your talk, right,
Mhm.
to be things that that audience would enjoy, right, or be
Yes,
relate to.
and we think that like, "Oh, I gave my talk, so I can't give the same talk." Guess what? People forget that even if they heard it the one I mean, I don't know if you're married. I know you're married, Mary, but like, is it have you ever told your spouse something and then they're like, "Wait, what was that thing?" And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I told you like so many times. How do you not know?" Like, how do you not? I mean, we've been together 13 years. You still don't know? And
Well, they
if
don't.
that's not
It's called selective hearing, by the way.
so,
35
guess
years of
what?
marriage. Yeah. Like,
It's not just our
okay.
spouses, it's people. They don't remember every single thing you said.
No.
Training is a leaky bucket.
Exactly. And people also, another weird thing, people don't remember what you wear. Like we're always so concerned, like, did I wear this? People remember, except for social media, you take a picture and you could like look back, but people don't care. You know, you can wear the same darn thing at every talk. And I'm sure they, oh, that's cool. That's her talking uniform or her
Yeah,
speaking uniform. All right. Well,
like
listen,
Mark
we're
Zuckerberg.
wrapping up the end of the show. I know you're a busy gal, but I wanted to ask you how people can reach you if they want to use speaking to grow their business because this program is really cool. I've talked to people who've been through it, and you literally give people so much confidence,
Oh,
so
thank you.
much poise, and so I'm so grateful that you even offer this to the world. So how can
Yeah,
people find you?
they can find me on getspeakinggigsnow.com. So it's get speaking gigs with a S
Okay,
now.com because you want more than one, right? You don't just want one speaking gig. You want like
exactly. I'm going to try to copy and put it in here. I'll definitely put it in the link as well.
yeah, and there you'll find 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs. That's a free resource you can use. If you're thinking you're hearing this and you're like, "Wow, I was waiting for a sign and this is it and I really need to I've always wanted to be a speaker. I want to use that to grow my business." And you want to apply to the Speakers Training Academy, you can go to same link getspeakinggigsnow.com but slash chat. So, that's if you're really
Oh,
listening, you can get that too. So,
nice. I
yeah.
will edit that to make sure. So it's the same website, but it's
Getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat would be if you want to apply for the
that's
Speakers Training
that's
Academy.
that's awesome. And I
Yeah.
love that people apply for it because you want to make sure it's the right fit, right?
Yeah. I work really intimately with people. You're not in a group with like hundreds of people. It's like, no, we're there. I'm there. It's me. I want to make
I
sure that
love
I can help you and that you're ready to really give speaking, that get to the next level.
and as a final note, I want to make sure because I think you actually this was a tip you were going to share with us, your brilliant marketing tip. What is the number one secret to get booked without cold calling?
Well, luckily I did share it. I know we're running out
Oh,
of
you're
time.
talking about the
Yeah, the Speaker
soulmate.
Soulmate System. Yeah, so I
Okay,
gave
so
you
I
all
thought
the
there was
nuggets. You
something
did it.
else.
Well, there's always more things, but that was definitely the one that I use over and over again that is still, pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, still use it,
I love it. I
and it
love it
works.
because you know what? It comes all down to relationships, right?
Mhm.
And when people know, like, and trust you, they really do want to help you, which I think
Absolutely,
is
100%.
is awesome. Well, thank you again, Lisa, for coming on today. And I really encourage everyone who's listening that you should be. In fact, that was what I was going to ask you. if someone's on the fence and they think, I don't know if I should be a speaker, what would be something you would tell them of why it's important if you're trying to grow your business, why speaking is a very important thing?
It's really one of the quickest ways you can grow your business and attract your clients because you're the authority. When someone asks you to take that stage, you can have your own stage. You can create your own stage now with all the things that we have. When I was a speaker, when I started, we didn't even have Facebook Live. It didn't exist. So you
Right.
can create your own stage if you want, but you don't have to have anything fancy. Gosh, if you have a phone, if you have a computer, that makes it even easier. You can literally be a speaker. So why not? Give it a shot.
I love it. And the fact that you said it's the fastest way to grow your client base and also increase your authority and build your credibility, like all those things are so important. And I think people sometimes don't realize that because you could be talking one-on-one to somebody or to a room of 100. If it's a numbers game, you're definitely going to get farther ahead by speaking to 100 people, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Well, thank you again, Lisa, and I appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing you next in person next month or later this month or sometime.
Sometime very
And
soon.
sometime very soon. But until then, thank you for being a guest and everyone for listening in on the Brilliant Marketing with Mary show. And I will see you next week.